360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover mentoring our youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our host, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And my good friend, Mr. Emerson Brantley, and his great friend that does the Thursday show, Ideas Worth Knowing. Ideas Worth Knowing. Share a little bit about that, and I want to put up, okay. He said he was going to get a cup of coffee, and he was serious about that, ladies and gentlemen. And Ideas Worth Knowing is a wonderful program because I'm going to let you share a little bit about it, but also on the marquee, I'm going to be putting down there about the 10 free books. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Michael Lewis is a longtime publisher. He's published several books that I've written or been an author in, and he's helped over 800 authors get their books out and make them bestsellers, which is an amazing feat. Almost all of his books are business-oriented books, but he does other books too, where people want to write about, say, their forefather or their foremothers, okay, or things about their family or their life story. But mostly they're business-oriented books, Jim, on every aspect of running your business and making it into a healthy and wealthy and profitable and emotionally cool business where you're not stressed out about it all the time. And by simply going to the website that you got down there, they can get an Ideas Worth Knowing library card that will give you access to all of the books as he's adding them. He's getting permission from more and more of his authors to include digital copies of their books that you could end up spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars for. If you were to go buy them, they're letting us put it online where small business people are able to get these books and use the knowledge that's there to help you grow your business and do it in a way that's healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why these best-selling authors want to share their knowledge with a total stranger, free of charge. Why would they do that? Because they know that if they bless you, they're going to be blessed too somewhere else down the road. And that's the way the world turns. When you love people and you bless others, your focus is on being a blessing to others, you're going to be blessed yourself. It's just that simple. And we got our great friend with us.
People who are very successful, Jim, one of the things that we all want is to leave a legacy.
Oh, yeah.
is to leave a legacy and not have our lives just defined by what we've done,
Yeah.
but have our lives become defined by the number of lives that we can touch.
Yeah, exactly. That's our calling in life. That's everyone's calling in life. How can you be a blessing to others? And doesn't matter how big the scale is or how small the stage is or whatever, that's irrelevant. The important thing is you show up.
Yes.
And we've got our good friend with us. We're doing a series with Mr. Vinney Chopra, and I'm telling you, yeah, let's bring him on board here. Here he is. There he is.
There he is.
Good
The man
morning.
who
Good
the man who
morning.
invented smiles.
I
Morning,
don't
sir.
know. Good
Yeah.
morning. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Emerson. It's such a pleasure to be with you both every Wednesday now at about 8 o'clock my time here in California, which we broadcast the show mentoring the youth, 4 p.m. I think Pacific, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, I think, or it's 4 p.m.
No.
Eastern, 4
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 p.m. Eastern. And what you're saying is so right. We got to show up. We got to show up because in this stage of life, everybody has got a book in them with the experience. And Brother Mike Lewis is helping me. And I just got the author's copy of 2 of my books. I got
Right.
yes, just last week. Just last week, I got my senior living book author's copy, and we are going to be publishing it. Mike is going to do it and make it a big seller, top seller. And then my other is the Positivity Brings Profitability book. And I want to thank Mike also. That's my second edition of the Positivity book. So, no, I'm very honored. And actually, the books, I don't know if you could all see that. It's hard to see, but maybe we could show them
Oh yeah, I
later
see
on.
them.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes. So
yeah.
three of them. And no, it's such a pleasure. And we're going to be talking today about goal setting for the youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a
Before we,
very
bef-
misunderstood. That's a very misunderstood area, Vinny.
yeah. Before we begin there, I've got your on the marquee there. I've got your website, and is that where they can go and see those books, or where can they see the books at, or was that a good place to
Okay.
start?
I would say Amazon is the best place because
Amazon.
these Amazon.com, Amazon under Vinney Chopra, my name,
Chopra.
just like my website is VinneyChopra.com. If they go to Amazon or Google me, they will find. But these 2 are new books. So we are just publishing them now on Amazon. But my first book on syndication made easy is there already, which was 4 years back I wrote it. But then this older edition of my positivity book is there. But the new ones will be going into Kindle, into Audible, into the soft paper and the hard paper, whatever, hardcover,
Sure.
everything.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
sir. Yes, sir.
once we get you as a bestseller, can we
Yes.
count on it being included in the Ideas Worth Knowing library for people
Oh,
too?
for sure,
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely, sir. All 3 books. I would love to get it in the hands of millions of people, if possible, through digital
Absolutely.
or otherwise. Yes, because
So
these are
any
universal principles. These are principles for the whole world.
Yeah.
In 200 countries, we could utilize them. Yeah.
that's
You know,
really
one of the things,
amazing.
one
Go
of the
ahead.
things, Jim, most people probably don't really think about or realize. And I've worked with literally hundreds and hundreds of people who are authors and speakers all over the world. Most of the people who write these books aren't doing it to make money off of the
No,
book sales on
totally,
Amazon.
totally.
In fact,
Yes,
the pennies that you get off of that would never make it worthwhile. But
totally.
leaving that legacy and sharing with, touching other people's lives and realizing so much of what Vinny knows, you'll never be able to tap into, but you can learn from it this way.
Yeah.
You may
The-
never hire or contract or bring an advisor in or do things that can be very, very expensive for a small company. but you can get the knowledge base and begin applying it in baby steps and start using it today. And that's what makes this so valuable, because that knowledge base keeps going on and on and on and on. Isn't that right, Vinney?
So true, Emerson and Jim. What I find is that maybe in one of the episodes we might have talked about, in every village, in every town, in every city, there is a place where there is accumulation of lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
experience, but that got really what's the right word, that could not really put into words or books or videos or whatever, and that's in the cemetery. A lot of people have
Yeah.
so much knowledge, so much experience, but
Richest
they
place.
just die. That's the richest
Yeah.
place in every town, everywhere. So we need to just look into, let's immerse ourselves into spreading the good knowledge and experience so that we can leave a legacy behind.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the thing that I really like about when you share, whatever you have with others,
Yes.
it's not a one and done. See, if you
No.
sell a book and you do it for money, okay, let's just use Bill here as example. This is Bill Heinrich's book, a good friend of ours, The 7 Levels of Truth. Okay? If Bill's focus is on selling this book, okay, every time he sells the book, it's one and done. One person buys it, that sale is done. But when he lifts his vision higher and his focus becomes to be a blessing on others,
Yeah.
and he shares the message that's on the top of this book that I'm just going to share with you. It says this book is for anyone that's seeking answers, solutions, and success in life. Your birthright is for you to enjoy the abundance, the love, the peace and joy that life has to offer. That's your birthright. And getting that message out there like that, it's just going to domino, because once you start blessing someone, it multiplies rapidly. Very, very rapidly. Good news travels, and you never know how those blessings are going to come back, but they will come back to you.
Well, Jim, Benny referred to something that there's so many people, they literally, graveyards are full
Oh, yeah.
of the knowledge and the insights and the experience that we all need. And it was one of my favorite authors, Henry David Thoreau. Okay, he's the one who said most people live lives of quiet desperation and go to their grave with their songs still in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so true. The person that that you're most familiar with is yourself.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that your head, our head, is talking to us 24/7, even when you're asleep, and knows everything about you. It knows everything you did, every failure you had, and it'll remind you, and it diminishes our sense of how valuable your life experience is for somebody else. And you can change other people's lives. And
Sure.
that is what, going back to what I was saying originally, most of the authors and speakers that I have met, of hundreds and hundreds over the years, most of them, when you get right down to why they wrote their book, it was to make sure that their knowledge didn't die with them, that it went beyond them, that it was bigger than their life here, because none of us have any promises anymore. And passing on that knowledge, passing on your family knowledge, passing on your training, your experience, your education, so
It just really hits home to me when you say that, because you think about all of the things that your parents, your grandparents took to their grave. There's a humorous story about a young man. He was watching his wife, and she cut the ends off the ham before she put it in the pot.
Oh, yes.
And he says, "Why did you do that?"
Yeah.
He says, "Well, my mother's already done it. Always did it." So a while later, a few months later, whatever, the mother's there, and he thinks about it. Says, "Hey, how come you cut the ends off the ham before you put it in the pot?" He says, "I don't know. My mother always did it."
Right.
So then later on, Grandma's finally around, and the guy remembers, and he says, "Grandma, I want to ask you a question. Why do you cut the ends off the ham before you put it in the pot?" She looked at him and says, "So it would fit in the pot."
All
and
we
I
had was
love
one
that.
little pot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
cut it, put it in the pot.
And another snapshot of what I'm illustrating.
I love that story.
Yeah, one of the where I'm going with this here is so many times on Facebook we'll see a person talk about a relative, something that they did, a grandfather, a great uncle, someone that was in the war, someone that was a great leader, and writing about it is one thing, but getting it down. There's something about writing something down and
Yes.
getting it into something physical. Because how many times have we found something on the internet and we go like, wow, I'm going to check that out later. And we lose it and we can't find it again.
Yeah.
You may be able to misplace this book, but you're going to be able to find it again. It's not going to, evaporate into thin air. And on our first week, Emerson, Mr. Vinney and us, we all covered self-discipline.
Yes.
And then last week we did time management. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into goal setting. I mean, even when a football team takes on the offense, they take the field, they know what the goal is. The goal is, and they call it the end zone, the goal is to get the ball in the end zone if can. And if not, at least get a field goal.
Yeah.
They don't go out there and say, okay, how far do we go? That's why there's measurements on the football field. That's why there's an end zone. Everybody knows on both sides of the ball, the offense and defense, if the running back or the receiver or the quarterback crosses that line with the ball, they know what's going on. That play is over. They scored a touchdown. And
Jim,
Emerson, go ahead with
Yeah.
Emerson, go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead,
I
please.
caught it in the touchdown, Coach.
Yeah.
Something you said is so true, and you said it humorously about the ham in the pot, about leaving the legacy. That story, the family story.
Yeah.
There's a great show. If those of you who never watched it, it's on public television, and it's called Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates, and he does research into family histories, usually of different celebrities and all that people know. And at the end, he goes in and he does the genealogical part of it. But the other night we were watching this, and it was so touching because I don't remember who the guest was that he was doing it for. But the story in the family was that his grandfather had been an alcoholic, and that he died at about age 40 or 42. And as they went back, they found that his grandfather had served in the trenches in World War I and
Wow.
had been gassed because they used mustard gas and other gases in the shells that people had to put on the mask, and it damaged their lungs. And they had hours and hours of artillery, and nobody talked about shell shock then. Nobody gave
Not at all.
any kind of follow up when they got home, and he never knew that part of the story. And his grandfather had won medals for valor and other things, Jim.
Wow.
And he never knew any of that in his family. The story that had come down was just, your grandfather or great grandfather, I think it was his grandfather. Yeah, your grandfather, he died early. He was an alcoholic, And here's the thing. He was in tears. He never knew.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there were parts of his life that started to make sense, and the drive and the vision and the initiative and the courage and things like that he began to see in this person, because now he knew the story.
Wow.
Even if you don't have a business, tell the stories. Don't let them go, like Vinney said, don't let them end up just in a graveyard and nobody
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
so true, Emerson. So true. I think it's so important that we are able to give of ourselves. Of
Hmm.
course, you could give yourself one person at a
Hmm.
time as you come in contact with them,
Mm.
and through visualization, through means like we are doing right now, we are reaching hundreds of thousands of people, and hopefully,
Hmm.
this live presentation can
Oh
be
yeah.
watched by anybody in the world,
Oh
which is
yeah.
true.
You watch
Hmm.
Will
years
be
from now.
Video
yes, sir.
video on demand. Yes, sir.
Video on
Hmm.
demand.
Hmm.
So that's the exciting part. I
Hmm.
hope everybody listening or watching
Hmm.
us look into themselves and say, you know what, I want to make a difference. The
Yeah.
other thing is, it's kind of fear of
Hmm.
writing, or fear
Oh
of
yeah,
saying that I don't have much to say. It's a lot of fears
looking
come through.
foolish.
Yeah, exactly. But nothing is, no, don't worry about it.
Hmm.
That's how I got started 7, 8 years back. I said I want to record and get the knowledge out, and
Hmm.
with grace of God, we have
Hmm.
written some books and all that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about goal setting. See, goal
Yeah.
setting is so important to
Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
make it happen, to accomplish our goals and dreams and aspirations. So if we want to have dreams, I always say dreams are something in the no land, or aspirations are in the air. I call them in the cloud. But if you put your aspirations and dreams, bring them onto the earth, let's say
Hmm.
that, and put
write them
some
down. Yeah,
specific, write them down, and then you write them small size, and you say, okay, and put a deadline to it, and then you give feedback to see if you're accomplishing that. That's when the dreams become goals, and
Hmm.
then we accomplish them.
really way to put
Absolutely.
it.
I really like that because it's very, very important for your goals to be written down. They've got to be very, very clear. You've got to be clear on what your goal is, and it's got to be attainable. So don't
Mhm.
set yourself up for failure. It's got to be attainable, it's got to be meaningful, and it's very, very important for you to set a time on it, not one of these days. You
Yeah,
hear that wishful thinking when someone says, well, one of these days when I win the lottery. Well, good luck with that. But Emerson, you know very well how important it is for someone to say, let's say a short goal. By December the 31st, 2023, just a few months away, a couple months away, whatever, I'm going to be whatever that goal is. Make it
all right.
something that's attainable that you can bite. And putting that time limit on it, that's important in it, Emerson.
It is, and there's a and Vinny, we didn't really talk about this before the show, but the the kind of the the system that I kind of fell into over the years is what people refer to as SMART goals, where you are
Mhm.
specific about them. That's that
Yes,
writing it down, where it's a
yes,
measurable goal, not just I
yes.
Mm.
want a lot of money, but a
Hmm.
measurable goal. And what Jim said, achievable.
Hmm.
So
Achievable.
don't
Yep,
say
yep.
I want to win the lottery and have win us at least $1 billion. Do something that's
Yeah.
achievable and relevant
Hmm.
and timely. You
Yeah.
got to put
Hmm.
that time stamp on it.
Yeah.
So that's always been, and there are other methods, and maybe you have a different
Hmm.
one, than a different approach that you take. But I mean, that's always been one that if I can nail it down, it takes it out of the range of
Hmm.
dreams and puts it down to earth.
The world of
Yes.
reality. The
And
world of
now it's
reality.
something that's measurable,
Hmm.
it's achievable, it's
Hmm.
believable, and
Hmm.
I have a plan now.
Yes.
Hmm.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Does that resonate with you with what you were saying?
Oh, totally, totally. It's so true. Like you said, SMART, SMART.
Hmm.
It's important that we hit all those points, being specific, being measurable,
Hmm.
writing it down, giving feedback. and then be willing to change the goals. That's the other thing. Sometimes we get stuck with the goals in
Oh boy.
certain period of time, and then you say, oh, I want to not change them. But I think the beauty lies in making them smarter, just like you said, and changing them. If it's take it bite-sized pieces, I always say that too. Because
Yeah.
if they are very big goals, they could be yearly goals, 6 months goals, 3 month goals, monthly goals, and weekly goals. So if we take care of daily and weekly goals, we could accomplish the bigger goals. So smart goals are the ones that you are achievable. Stretch a little bit, but don't
A little bit.
stretch too big
Yeah.
that you are just always thinking, I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
failed.
missed it.
Yeah.
I failed. I failed.
Yeah.
That is
And
a wrong attitude. That's a wrong
yeah.
thinking to tell your subconscious you have been a
Yeah.
failure. You
It-
want to be an achiever. Yes, sir.
yeah. I love what you say there because what Vinny you're saying there is don't set yourself up for failure. And I'm going to
Yes.
use this analogy. Let's say that the Boston Marathon is 2 months away, and someone says, "Okay, I've got to go. I'm going to run the 26 miles in the Boston Marathon in 2 months," and you're not a runner. You have automatically set yourself up for failure. What you need to do to be attainable is to say, next year, I'm going to run in the Boston Marathon. I'm going to complete the 26 miles. So now I've got 14 months to prepare. Now I need to put in a game plan, step by step by step by step, to help me reach my goal, make it attainable. Because otherwise, if you think you're going to eat a box of Wheaties and show up in 2 months and run 26 miles, you've already set yourself up for failure, disappointment, and you've trained your brain, and it's going to convince itself and try to convince you that you are a loser. And that is a major disconnect in life. Go ahead, sir.
No, and that brain training is so important because your brain believes that. And reality, our reality, there's an old saying, perception is reality. Well, a lot of people want to argue with that. But whatever your brain believes, okay, on the positive side, let's take it on the positive side. Napoleon Hill famously said, whatever the mind
Can conceive and believe.
conceives and believes, it can achieve. Okay? Well, there's truth in that, but the flip of that is also true. If you believe that you are not able to do it, if you believe that you are unable to achieve, or that it's too big, or too difficult, or too hard, or too, you don't have the capacity, or whatever that message is, if you believe that in your brain, it will hold you back from proving that.
Yeah, it would not let you fail.
That is so important. It has to, it won't let you fail, but failure means
I mean,
you didn't achieve what you got.
exactly.
So true, so true, so true. I mean, there are so many of everybody in this world. We set goals, and we set small goals or big goals, and we achieve few of them. We achieve few of those. But you are so right, Emerson and Jim. We have to have small victories. We have to have small victories to propel us to move further so that we can make bigger victories.
And celebrate those
goals.
small victories.
Celebrate those small victories. That there lies the secret to really be happy and in the moment, and then also set higher goals. And then you reach those. And then you say, you know what? I'm better. What I was 3 months back or 6 months back, now I'm achieving bigger goals. I was always planning to reach this thing, but I just did not write it down. I believe in writing down the goals, and I'm sure you do too.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
we got to bring it from imagination back on paper It could be in iPhone, it could be anywhere, or Android. Nowadays, yellow page is there in the every, our, we don't use the regular yellow pages anymore. We could put it under context, under anything, But the big thing is we got to remind ourselves of the goal. If I may say that, I used to write my goals on 3 by 5 cards,
Yes.
and many
Index.
times index cards. Those were the days. I remember 3 by 5 cards used to be next to my bed, when I was young. Of course, I'm young right now, but when I was younger, then I would put that near to my bed and look at my goals at nighttime, what were important to me. Yeah, there we go. There we
Did
I
you
got
go.
ever
a
keep them?
stack of them.
Do you ever keep them in your pocket during the day and pull them out every so often?
Yes, yes, definitely. Even
Yeah.
put a tape in the car on the
Yeah.
dashboard. We have done that.
You get
Those
somebody who
things.
blows you off, somebody shoots you
Oh,
down, somebody who rejects you.
oh,
You pull that out to remind yourself,
yes,
that's not
yes.
who I am. Here's who I am. Here's what
Here's
I'm.
who I am. So
And when
true,
that
so
and when
true.
that stack runs out, I got some more here. This is
I love it. I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
because let me just humbly say right quickly that when you write it down and you got it there, you can take this 3 by 5 index card or a simple piece of paper. You
Yes,
can
yes.
tape it anywhere where you will
Anywhere
see
you
it.
want. Yes,
Like a great
yes.
place is in your bathroom on the mirror because that way you are training your brain. Hey, this
Yes.
is the goal.
Yep.
Even if
Yep.
just to do 10 push-ups,
Yeah.
write it out there. Let it be small because some people can't even do one. And I'm using that
And if
only
you're
as an analogy. Go ahead, sir.
and if you're
So
thinking this is too old school, I'm not going to go get cards. That's great stuff. But you know what? You got a phone. You have a phone.
yes.
You have a calendar in this phone.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yep.
put reminders for yourself through the day.
Yep.
You can go
Oh,
into your notes on this phone and you can put that, and several times a day you can pull it out and read those notes and read them out loud, not just to yourself. Read them where you speak them and you hear them and you think them, and let that be your reminder. There's
Yeah.
where I'm going.
it's
Yep,
so
there you go.
great, Emerson, what you said. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
phones, the calendars are amazing. On the
They are
laptops, Google Calendars, you can reoccur the activity
every
and
single day.
remind you
Yeah.
every single day for years and years and
Yeah.
years. And you could remind yourself at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. Like
Amen.
in my case, I don't mind sharing. I have 5 pranayams, which is in my language, breathing exercises that I need to do every day, and aerobic exercises and miracle morning. So that reminds me with a video right there every morning, every morning. So you're so right, Emerson.
Yeah.
We could use our tools for our benefit,
Yeah.
and
Let
they will remind us. Yes, sir. Yeah.
and what Vinny is saying, let your phone be your servant and don't let you be the servant to your phone.
I'll
So
take it one
true.
step further there, Vinny. On mine, I actually had goals and objectives. I use this more for affirmations to remind me of
Yes.
the qualities and the things I know and the things I'm able
Yes.
to do and where I'm going and the value. And
Yes.
I spoke that and recorded it, and then
Yeah.
I can play it back and hear it in my voice, in my ear.
Yes. Yes.
And when you're just stressed out and you're going through stuff, for you guys and gals that are still in school and you're going through classes and the pressure is on you and you're trying to make, being able to, have the funding to get your education completed, or you're working 2 jobs and you're, whatever the circumstances you are in, I will never devalue how difficult it is for you.
Yes.
What Vinny is sharing with you, and what Jim and I have, all 3 of us, we have Vinney, I'm going to let you tell just a little bit about your early story there, because we've all been in that place where sometimes it was hard to see the way out or the way
Yeah.
forward. And it's that
Yeah.
reminder,
Mm.
the reciting of it, the hearing of it, the listening, the reminding ourselves, and letting that become the voice in our head. And Vinny,
So true. So true.
with far less than most of our viewers probably had to start with.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you
Tell
so
us a little
much.
bit about your story again. I know we did on one of the other shows.
I would love to, Emerson. Again, I'm just a humble guy. I came from India originally with siblings, 6 siblings living in one bedroom apartment with no television, no phone, no
But you had a lot of
refrigerator.
money, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not too much money, but we were happy. I mean, I can totally see myself. I have no qualms about my upbringing, but we were studious. We wanted to be somewhere, and that's what students are. We are doing this show. It's a very big part of my life because I want to share with my experiences with the youth how your focus in your studies will get you not just the studies, but also talking about attitude, talking about perseverance, talking about goal setting, talking about being an entrepreneur at a young age. That's what will get you to the biggest
Yeah.
places in this world. Just education will not. Just mathematics or history or like that, that'll give you the skill. But you got to talk about success, talk about mental attitude, talk about abundance, talk about law of attraction, talk about goal setting. Those will get you there.
Ask
But I came
questions,
in
be a
this,
sponge.
yes, be a sponge of learning and putting into practice who you want to become one day. You're in the process of becoming today. I believe in that so much. My mentor told me that. And it's so true. If you want to be a millionaire or billionaire, it's possible. But you got to take smaller steps right
Amen.
now to listen, to watch, to see the biographies of and read biographies of people who have accomplished
Oh,
big
yeah.
things and see where your focus is, where your mind is at, where you feel good that you want to progress. So just to say that, Emerson, I came in with $7 in my pocket and I just wanted to be somebody. I got a mechanical engineering degree in India. I came to do my master's in business administration just to see if I could make a good living in life by combining both of them. And with the grace of God, uh, I was able to accomplish small goals. But the biggest thing happened in my life was when I read 7 books. 7 books somebody gave me. Dale Carnegie's book, How
Dale
to
Carnegie.
Influence People and Win Friends.
Yep.
How, what's the other one? Vincent Norman Peale,
Yeah.
Positive Thinking. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Then we had Charlie Tremendous Jones, Life is
Oh gosh.
Tremendous. Magic of Thinking by W.J. Schwartz. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. Then Jim Rohn's books, and then we had Zig Ziglar's books. All those
Oh,
great books.
yeah.
Les Brown books and Tony Robbins books. All the good ones, right? So by learning the material that's taught in the books, don't let that stay in the book. See, that's what I find. A lot of us read books. We read fiction, we read this and that. Do read some positive books also, but don't just read it for reading it, but take 2, 3, 4 things to implement in your life.
I still tell people you can do this digitally with a digital
Yeah,
copy. You can
yeah.
highlight it, you can make notes.
Mhm.
I still tell people, go and find a copy of this book.
Yeah,
Get a
yeah.
yellow highlighter. Have a pen in your
Yes.
hand. Have a
Yep,
notepad in your hand.
yep.
Highlight the section. It doesn't matter. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter if just highlight them. Make notes, not just notes to remind you what you read. And I
Yes.
think this is so important, Vinny. But as you're reading it, notes for you of
You.
the sparks that go off in your head from it and
Yes.
how you can relate it.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to segue just a second. Jim and I did a show. I don't remember, probably over a year ago, Jim. And I actually had a copy at the time. I still do, but I don't have it with me. I worked for W. Clement Stone, who is the man who discovered Napoleon Hill
Yep.
of Think and Grow Rich, which is another great book. Think and Grow
Very
Rich.
good book. Yes, yes.
Oh.
I forgot about that one.
Clement Stone had started Combined Insurance Company in the 30s when he found the first copies of that, and he bought 5,000 copies for all of his salespeople all over the country. That's how big his company was way back then.
Yeah.
Now, they had a system, Vinney, and you may like to use this. This is really, it was called R2A2, not R2D2, but not R2D2, not Star Wars. R2A2.
Yeah.
To recognize, assimilate. Recognize, relate. I'm sorry. Assimilate and take action. So recognize it. So you read it. Relate it. How does it apply to me?
Yes.
Okay. Then assimilate it into your life. Affirmation, reminding yourself of that fact. And then you're writing these things down. What is the action that I'm going to take on that today? So you recognize it. Wow, that's for me. You relate it into an area of your life, your goals, what you're trying to accomplish. And then how are you going to assimilate it? Remind yourself of it. That's part of what Vinney was just talking about, right? With writing the stuff down and reminding yourself through the day. And then what is the action I'm going to take today? So R2A2. And that I still use that when I go through and read these books. Vinney, I highlight them, I make my notes, but that's the format I still use today. Because it's too easy just to read through and to go, oh, wow, that was good. Oh, wow, that was great. Oh, you need to read this book. It's really good. Really, what did you get out of it? And how many times have we done that? We read the book and it's like, I got to read it again just because I miss so much.
Yes, yes,
because I'm not applying it.
It's so true, so true. I mean, many times we read a book and we put it away. We say, I read it, I did it. But when we reread it, oh my gosh, more things come out in the open. And you say, you know what? I read it, I knew I wanted to implement it, but I didn't. So it's really great to reread the books and open the book in the middle or in the end. Or many times I've read a book or opened a book later on, and what I needed that day, that was the page. Somehow it opened up for me. And that idea took me to the next level that day. It's just amazing. Yes.
And part of it is you're a different person today. Than you were the first time you read it. You've experienced other things that you hadn't experienced. You've met other people. You've heard other talks. You've read other books. And now when you read it, your perspective has changed from the first time that you read it. And so reading through it again, or even like Vinney said, open it up. You don't have to start at the beginning and read all the way through. Open it up and just pick a chapter or pick a page and just start reading. And
so true.
Just jump off the page.
You know, I wanted to talk about in the goal setting also. It's one thing to write it down. It's other thing to implement it and remind yourself. We talked about it. But the other thing is to stay committed. To stay committed to the goals, because until we value the commitment and we make sure that we stay the course, we won't accomplish it. It's one thing to say, I will commit myself to get 100% of the goal, but if we stay committed and we reached only 30% of the goal, and then we reach 50% and then 100%, but we got to be staying committed to the goal. That's a huge part.
That is so true.
You know, and then visualizing.
That's the importance too of getting those little measurable goals and
Yeah.
not trying to go, like Jim said, or I think it was you, Jim. I'm going to run the marathon in 2
Yeah.
weeks. I'm not.
Yes.
Too much.
I haven't run in 5 years, but I'm going to run 26 miles in 2 weeks, and that's not having it measurable, having it in bite-sized portions, reminding yourself every single day, and staying on the course,
Yes.
staying on the course, and continuing to make those incremental steps, because that's really, don't you find, I've always found, Vinny, real success, and I usually am applying this in marketing for people, but real success isn't in these massive,
No.
giant, it's not in the huge goals, it's in those incremental steps that we take along
Yes.
the way.
So true, so true,
Yeah.
so true. Visualizing, I think that's so big. What a mind can think, can achieve. We say that so many times. We got to visualize success in goal setting. We want to really be passionate of achieving that and see what's on the other side of achieving it, having the benefits, having the good feelings, and having accomplished, helping people or learning, whatever those goals are for. But we got to visualize success, because by visualizing and staying the course, it's so important for achieving the goals.
Yeah. It's also very important, too, in addition to what Vinny is saying there, the little bitty, successes that you have. Be sure
Yeah.
and reward yourself. Have joy
Yes.
and jubilee in your heart,
Yes.
because
Yes.
you got to have
Happy
some.
dance.
Yeah, you got to have some swagger in your life, and I'm not talking about pride, but I'm talking about, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. It might be a little bitty something that someone
Yes.
else might think is nothing, but to you, it is really
It's
important
very
because you attained it, celebrate it, rejoice in it, and go
Yeah.
get them. That's when you say go get them, Tiger.
I love
And
it. I
my
love
wife
it.
is so good to me. I mean, she just, if I have some small little thing, that some breakthrough I've had, or something that I've been working on, she's seen me, chewing it over and working it, and I figured this one out. We got this and this and this, and she'll go, okay, give me a happy dance. Let's celebrate. She's
Mhm.
so good at reminding me. We have to
Mhm.
take the time to
So
do
true.
that. You did it, and
It's
now for the next one.
Yeah, that's so true. And I would like to also interject right here, being positive. I
Oh
know
yeah.
Yeah.
staying positive about whatever you accomplish, small or big, it's so important. And I believe that my life has changed by being positive here in USA for the last over 40 years. That's why I wrote the book Positivity Brings Profitability, because positive mindset can do wonders for us. It's the negative thinking, it's the small thinking, it's the negative behavior. What we think, we form into what we act, because what we think, we act. And if we are very negative and we are not positive about the outcome, it's going to send all different kind of messages of failure and distrust and being not able to give your best, and undermine ourselves, poor self-talk, I call it, degrading ourselves. We don't need to do that. If we set a goal and we didn't achieve it, figure out why you didn't achieve it, or what's wrong in writing that down. Was it a very big goal that you shouldn't have written it down? You could even bite size it. Let's do it smaller. If it's a worth achieving goal, let's figure out a way to stay positive,
Yeah.
because by positivity we will accomplish much better way than being negative. That's what we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to share too is that on a radio show Bill Heinrich and I were doing, and I was talking, and we've had over 6 million downloads on the radio show, and I told Bill, I says, Bill, the other day I made a decision, and this is on live radio. He says, Jim, he says, making decisions is not good for you. And I went, oh, okay. He said, no. So what I mean by that is make options. Because once you make options, this is what direction I'm going in. And if you make a decision, you automatically build a mental box. And everything's
Yeah,
got to fit
yeah.
inside that box. Therefore, as you're going down the road of your roadmap, because if you're going to
Yes.
go from New York to Los Angeles, you're going to plan the trip. As you plan the trip, you may have to make a detour. And that's where the
Yeah.
options come in. And it doesn't mean there was anything wrong with your planning. It just meant that there was something that came up that you were unaware of or did not
Yeah.
know, like a detour, road construction, or something of this nature, and you've got to make an option to move on to help you continue. And
Uh,
that is so important because so many times we get tunnel vision.
yes. Yes.
And tunnel vision can. How many times have we been going somewhere, we got our mind on something, the radio's going, and we miss our exit?
So true, so true.
Tunnel
And
vision.
if I may say that,
Sure.
it's so good, Jim, what you just said. Just in analogy wise, when we say a plane takes off from New York and the plane is heading to Los Angeles, now we may think that the plane is going in the straight line
Yeah.
going from New York to Los Angeles. That's not true. With the wind coming, with the obstacles coming, with all the different things happening, pressures up there, clouds, whatever it can be,
Flight
the
pass.
plane goes all different ways. It
Oh,
doesn't go
yeah.
straight. Many times the plane is going sideways, but it's going towards the goal of reaching Los Angeles. That's how our life is. If we are over here and the goal is over here, we will not reach the goal straight. It could be when it's a smaller goal, it can reach straight, but there will be obstacles coming on the way. And let's not worry about those. Let's go through them, around them, above them, or below them. Just like water, flow like water. I'm going to do a blog on that. I've been listening about it. Let's not be a rock, but let's be water, because water flows. It goes around the rocks, below the rocks, over the rocks, and that's what our life should be, flowing like water, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
aeroplane that will get to the destination. But we can achieve whatever our mind can conceive, we can achieve by writing it down. Goal setting is so important in life. I hope our youth who will watch this later on, or they're watching us or listening to us, I want to ask you if there is a podcast, audio version of this one too, because I want to put it in my podcast also. Do you put it into podcasts or not yet? I'm sorry.
E360 TV has it on Google Play, and it
Oh,
should be
Google
there.
Play.
Yeah, they put it on
Okay.
there. Yeah.
If I could get a copy of the podcast, I
Okay.
would love that. I would love
Okay.
that.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
would love to, love to. Thank you. Yes, yes.
And also on the marquee there, you see The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. I like to talk about that a lot because I met Mr. Earl Nightingale. I've got a lot of respect for him. He's got a deep, gravelly voice, and I talk about how I met him. I was about 18, maybe 19, just right before I went in the Army. And I was at a service station, and this big, I believe it was a Buick or Oldsmobile, four-door sedan, black car, came in, and the radiator was just, boiling over. And we knew, as soon as he got out, I recognized him, and as soon as he spoke, I knew who he was. And he was going to meet somebody. This is the point. He walked over to the payphone because back in the 60s, we never even heard of a cell phone or a pager. He called whoever who was going to meet, and he says, "I'm here at this service station in Shelby, North Carolina, where I'm from." And he said, "My car is overheating." And he says, "I will call you as soon as I'm able to get back on the road. It's going to take a while." And he sat down, opened up his briefcase, and started doing some work. He did not let that radiator overheating destroy his spirit,
Yes.
disrupt his world as far as his thinking. He just
Wow.
he just used an option to make an adjustment. So the
Mm-hmm.
main thing is that, in other words, as we used to say in the military, going when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. But the bottom line is, in any situation, listen up, folks. Do not make yourself more miserable than is absolutely necessary.
You know,
So true.
I was,
So
I was
true.
thinking about the Thomas Edison story in the light bulb, which maybe many of our viewers have heard, maybe some haven't. But Thomas Edison, he tried something like 10,000
So
different variations to
that's
get a
correct.
light bulb that worked, that
Mm-hmm.
functioned, that put out enough light, that didn't explode, that didn't burn up. And a reporter asked him, "How in the world did you manage to I don't know the exact question. But it was, how did you manage to just keep going with after all
Mm-hmm.
those failure after failure after failure?" And Edison
Mm-hmm.
looked at him and said, "I didn't consider them failures. I just learned one more way that it didn't work."
Yes.
And he
So
kept
true.
at it
Yeah.
again
So
and
true.
again and
So.
again. And that's the attitude that we're talking about here.
Hmm.
And water, I love that water analogy. You go
Yes.
over, under, around, or through, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And
Flow like a
that's so
water.
important
Flow.
because life
Flow.
will continually throw those
Yes.
boulders in the way. It's not
Yes.
going to ever stop. It's
No.
us that has to adapt.
So true. So true. Wow. Wow. No, what a tremendous, tremendous show. Hopefully, everybody liked it.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
thank you so much. And looking forward to next week also. We're going to be talking about communication. Effective communication is our
Yes, we
topic
will.
next week. So it's going to be a fabulous show. Please come.
Absolutely.
Please go back 2 weeks back. Look
Mhm.
at our two other shows. This is the third show. God bless you all. Thank you, Jim. Thank you,
No.
Emerson. Thank
You're
you.
right. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. On behalf of Vinney and Emerson and myself, we sincerely hope and pray that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. Most importantly, love yourself first, then you can love others. And also be like me. Love yourself enough to forgive yourself when you do dumb things, okay? We'll see you next time. Bless you all.
Next
Thank
time.
you.